Mm-hmm.
Hello. Welcome to episode 173 of the Super Weapon Podcast, most overpowered podcast on the internet. It's your boy Darius the Artist, and as always, got my co-host DC here with me today.
Oh, I gotta edit that out to YouTube. We just coming in.
Yeah. Nah, keep that in, baby. Yeah.
No, that's algorithms. We can't do it. God, no, I'll leave the coffee in. I just gotta beep out the cuss.
Yeah. That's so funny.
I took a big breath of air to get hype and almost died. What's up, everybody?
He's so excited to talk, he couldn't contain himself, guys.
Oh man.
For our audio listeners, man, our guy DC took a big breath, man. He just.
Oh man, I just something like. I'm back, baby. It's your boy DC. We are in the building, and as usual, we got some hot topics for you guys. We're going to just talk about a few things you may or may not enjoy, but either way, just come kick it with us. It's Saturday morning, and we just trying to start this thing off right, man.
Yeah, man.
No
Couple weeks before Christmas for Christmas or whatever your holiday of choice, man. We appreciate you guys spending that time with us here, man. We're like DC said, we do have some interesting things to talk about. But before we get started, just want to do a little bit of house cleaning. Of course, make sure you guys, once again, please go check out the last guest we had on 2 episodes ago, Terrible Gaming. We just want to make sure to, give our guests as much shine as possible. Those episodes are really great. If you guys haven't had to, at the moment or the time to go check out those, DC is still dropping clips for those, man, as well. Just make sure you guys sub to our YouTube as well, man. We here. YouTube is live. It's in full effect. And we appreciate you guys showing love on all our other platforms as well, man.
Thank you.
Thank you as always. But, I'm really excited just to jump into this stuff, man, because we had a pretty big piece of news come out of the PlayStation camp this week. Talking about Naughty Dog, man. Those of you guys who don't know who Naughty Dog is, they're the ones who made The Last of Us. I'm sure if you haven't played the games, you've probably seen the show. But they have come out and announced that they are scrapping The Last of Us Online, which actually really surprised me. Because we've kind of reported on it here and there, talked about it a little bit since they, announced the inception of it. I was actually hoping we were going to get an announcement at the Game Awards, but clearly we didn't. And they put out an official statement, basically saying that, they would be choosing between delivering great single player games or supporting a live service game. And I know a lot of people were pretty upset at them about this, but I kind of want to, poke a little bit, a couple of different angles on this, because I think this is a pretty interesting topic in and of itself, man. But just like overall, were you kind of shocked, or, were you expecting this to get canceled? Like, where you kind of sitting with this piece of news here? Were you excited for it at all? We've talked a lot about Last of Us here. We're big fans of it.
To be honest with you, man, it was a little disappointing, to be honest. When it comes to like something new and fresh, which I thought this could be that, right? I'm thinking that maybe this could put a spin on the multiplayer shooter. I guess I don't know if it was going to be a shooter. I'm not quite sure what it was going to be, but I had high hopes for it because it's just like maybe it'll bring something new to the table. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I wondered to myself a lot, like, how is this going to play out? Like, would it just be more of a co-op thing, objective based type of multiplayer? Would it be kind of like how Uncharted had their multiplayer? It was like a kind of a over the shoulder shooter, you know what I mean? Type. Well, I wouldn't say over the shoulder. What is it? You could see the person.
No, it's third person. Yeah, kind of third person.
Yeah, third person. It was like a third person type of shooter, which was low key very popular. Like, a lot of people like Uncharted multiplayer. So, excuse me. I was wondering if that would be their approach to their game, or because I wanted a more multiplayer kind of co-op-ish experience where you have missions and stuff you have to partake in to maybe bring materials and stuff back to your compound, or just like maybe something different like that. But I was really looking forward to seeing what Naughty Dog spin on this was going to be, and now it's kind of like canned, and now I'm wondering why. I'm wondering like, my thoughts are like, were they working on it? Then they were just like, yo, you know what? This is kind of a crappy idea. Or was it funding? Which I doubt very
No,
seriously, but
yeah, I was
who
gonna
knows
say.
now? But I mean, hey, you laying people off, man. So we
Good
can't
point.
just throw that away. It may be, maybe they didn't feel the need, maybe the return on investment. Maybe they feel like they would have made this game. It probably wouldn't have got them what they wanted. So they just scrapped it. It's a big mystery right now, but I know I'm not the only one who was looking forward to checking this game out because, and then it would have been something different besides yet another remake of one of PlayStation's goated games. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, that's starting to be a problem now too with all the talks of these remakes. I'm like, okay, guys, like let's get some new IPs. Let's not go the remake train just yet, or it's too early. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm a little disappointed, man. Not gonna lie. I was looking
Well,
forward to this.
I'll say this much. I don't know if you ever actually had the chance to check out. They actually made a multiplayer quote unquote mode for Last of Us already. It was called Last of Us Factions. If you never played
Heard
it,
about
it
it,
was
but I never
really,
played it.
really, really fun, man. The community there was a huge community for it back when it was like at its height. And in my mind, because we did talk about Bungie, after they were acquired, they actually had looked at the game that Naughty Dog was working on, and according to reports, allegedly, of course, we don't have any insider information, but apparently Bungie wasn't very impressed with what they made.
Oh,
And back in May, they even announced that they were scaling down on the development of the game, so they weren't devoting as many resources to it. So, in my mind, right, when you
mm-hmm.
had Sony talking about they wanted to make 10 to 12 games as a service by, I think it was 2026 or 2027, a couple years ago. I actually saw a report like 6 of those games have been canceled. 6 of the 12 that they planned on, whether they were announced or not. And I think this was probably started out as something that was supposed to be similar to Factions for them, but maybe they started to expand, just like you were saying, because you were going to have that PvP element, obviously, but maybe they were looking at adding some sort of gameplay loop for people who wanted to go out and explore the world of Last of Us, collect materials. What comes to mind in that is the Division, kind of like that survival mode,
Yeah,
like
that's
the
exactly
Division
what
One
I was.
survival. That's what I
Yeah,
was kind of thinking.
same.
And just like in reading the letter that they wrote, they were basically saying like the game scale kind of got out of control, which is that's something that happens very commonly in the game industry. And I'm very disappointed as well, but at the same time, I kind of feel like just as a whole in this industry, and tell me if you feel the same, right? But I feel like that making like traditional style, and when I say traditional, like multiplayer games, I'm talking about ones that may be like arena style focused or something that's not trying to copy or build off of what Destiny, the franchise, has already done. I think it's damn near impossible to make those type of games anymore. Even to the point where you have a studio as talented and creative as Naughty Dog, looking at what they had and just completely just like, yeah, we can't put this out. This isn't going to be good, or the juice may not be worth the squeeze. The monetization might not be there. I feel like
Mm,
we're stuck as an industry where if it's not something like a BR that comes out as free to play, that's already an established IP, that it won't survive on the market. And I feel like that's probably what they were looking at, and maybe Sony's looking at that, their portfolio as a whole, first party games included, where they're like, we really have to figure out how we're going to continue to incentivize players to spend money in this game, continue to make money. But I really feel like that kind of stunts that creativity and that diversity you were just talking about, where we do have a season of remakes and remasters. And I look at something like Resident Evil 4, which was a great example of something that was completely remastered and did a phenomenal job, versus the PS5 update for Last of Us 2, which some may agree or disagree with me. I don't think it was necessary, but do you feel that
hmm
kind of way, like about like multiplayer games in general, that it's kind of hard to step outside that box now that's been kind of created?
Yes, and but that's exactly what's going to make a game great when they actually do step out of that box and actually hit the nail on the head. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like we've created like this catalyst of like FPSs and stuff like that. Like there's just this big influx of we have so many like shooters and
Mhm.
stuff to where people are just so used to that. When something different comes, it's hard for it to be a hit.
Right.
Like if you think about it like right now. Now I joked about this last episode with the gamer awards and the things that they were showing. Like either it's hack and slash or it's a shooter, right?
Right.
And it feel like there's not enough room for anything else to exist outside of that world, which I don't necessarily agree with. I believe that it's just going to take time to find something. People, it's
Yeah.
going to take time to like break that little bubble that we're in as gamers because mainstream like I say like this, like people like me, I casually play games, but my whole ever since we've created this podcast, my whole thing has been to expand my palette, to
Right.
try different genres of gaming outside of FPSs and stuff like that. And I'm finding a lot of great games. I found a lot of great games through my journeys, and I don't want them to feel like they have to kind of keep creating these same types of games. Um, and with The Last of Us, I don't know what they plan on doing now. Maybe they scrapped it to focus
We
on.
actually gonna that's gonna be the next part of the conversation. So at the end of the letter that they released, they
Mhm.
hinted that they're working on 2 single-player games right now. They have 2 in the pipeline. I really feel like
Is
one of
that
them
Last
is.
of Us 3?
They didn't say names, but I feel like one of them is Last of Us 3. And I kind of
I feel
wanted.
like they may have, my bad, but I feel like they may have pulled resources to start working on Last of Us 3.
I think they
That's
were.
just me.
Yeah, honestly, I think they've been working on it. I and I'm hoping, and we could kind of talk about like hopes and dreams for, the next Last of Us, because we're gonna get a Last of Us 3. In my personal opinion, I think it's almost a certainty at
You
this
have
point.
it's a trilogy. Like I think you have to end it. I think Ellie's story is going to end in this one, whether it be she succumbs to her mental exhaustion, maybe she like I don't see it ending good for her. Like I think this is going to be a very emotional game like part 2 was.
Yeah,
But I also feel like, this franchise makes so much money, there's going to be a transfer of power. My prediction would be something's going to happen to Ellie. If it's not death, it's going to be something close to it. And you may get a continuation of Last of Us, maybe not in necessarily a fourth one, but maybe someone else in the universe will take over the role of Ellie. Whoever that is, but I think like Ellie's time is coming to an end. We may get Ellie, she's a grown woman in part 3, you know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
whatever the storyline is, it ends her story because this in my mind, this is a trilogy. They're going to end her story. And like I said, when games make money, there's going to be a sequel. So the
absolutely.
sequel may carry on with someone else. And I love the world of Last of Us. So I feel like they got a lot to pull from and make it make sense. Like it wouldn't be just like a money grab. Like there's a whole world, characters and stuff. Now, if people accept that, because you know how we fall in love with our main characters and stuff. Look
Right.
what happened to Joel.
That's what.
People did
Yeah, I
not
agree with
take
you.
that well.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I'm in the mind of thinking that they're shuffling. Naughty Dog is shuffling resources around to make things make sense. And like I said, no one's safe from layoffs. It's been companies where they had layoffs, and we're
Naughty
like,
Dog
yo,
had layoffs this year.
yeah,
They did.
they made massive amount of money from their IPs. What was it? Insomniac,
Yeah.
big dogs.
Almost 7,000 people before the end of the year have been laid off.
And
Hello,
we
Ivy.
just
What's going on?
always,
Hello. Thank you for stopping by. Once again, guys, we are recording this podcast live. If you guys ever want to stop by, we're live every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern, man, at twitch.tv/Darius the Artist. But yeah, I agree with you, man. I feel like the third one, I would almost hope that there's some sort of time jump, right? Because,
it
spoilers,
will be.
spoilers. I'm giving you 5 seconds to pause the podcast. Spoilers for Last of Us 3 ending. In 5, 4, 3, 2. I feel like with the end of Last of Us 2 story, you see Ellie where she was just kind of broken, alone, I forget the young lady. What's her name? Dina, I
Dina,
think. Dina,
yeah, Dina.
she ended up leaving Ellie because she didn't want her to continue to pursue that path of revenge, because it's an endless cycle. And I would love to see maybe like a 10-year, 20-year time jump where Ellie's much older, kind of closer to where Joel was in his age.
Hmm.
Not necessarily walking the same path as him, being, this grizzled, I just hate the world because, I've had
And
so
she's
much.
gonna be with Dina's baby.
And that's what I was, either that or maybe another character. I forget the young character that was kind of following around Abby. Maybe they could cross paths some kind of way. I just don't feel like her and Abby's story is finished. And I would love to see some sort of conclusion to, what they feel like the end of the cycle of hatred looks like, and how do you kind of overcome that? Because that was a big,
I think
big part of the story in the second one.
I believe the cycle of hatred. We've all watched Naruto. We know how that goes. But I feel like the cycle of hatred ends in her dying. I truly believe
Maybe
that.
she's released in that way of that hatred, Yeah.
I really think that they're going to play on the mental aspect of it really heavy. I think
Hmm.
that Ellie's going to have demons that pretty much starts to consume her, because in part two they kind of let you know that she had real heavy like PTSD. Like she had a lot of problems. Like
Yeah.
Ellie had a lot of problems that she think about it. They in an apocalyptic world. There's no therapist or medication or nothing like
No,
that
there's
to
no
deal with
mental
these
health,
problems. You're
mental
just
health
sitting on that shit.
avenues, right?
So I feel like part three, it gets really, really dark for her, and whatever threat or whatever they introduce to her, I feel like she's going to go down a path that she just can't return from. And I think the saving grace may be Dina and the baby. Like there may be something in there that connects them somehow, and she starts to get a little humanity about herself. Because you got to think, by the end of Last of Us 2, Ellie was just a killing machine. Like she didn't care
Oh,
about
she was on a
anything.
war path. Yeah, she was going crazy. Yeah, Abby. So we're talking about The Last of Us. I don't know if you've seen the HBO TV show. It's based off of a game. If you have a PlayStation, I highly recommend you play it. It's a fantastic story. The first and second game are incredible. Some of the best
Yes,
games I've ever
it's very
played.
good.
Yeah.
Go play it.
Um,
That's your homework.
but yeah, man, I don't know. Like as far as that, I think it's all but a certainty that we get some sort of Last of Us 3. Do we get it this generation? I don't think so. Maybe towards the end of the generation, like we did
I
with
think toward
the
the end.
PlayStation 4. So you have
Yeah.
that, and then like I said, they announced that they quote unquote announced they were working on 2 single player games. I'm hoping the second game is some sort of new IP, brand new IP where, because we know Naughty Dog is great in making single player games. That's their huge focus, and they usually try to, tell these, stick to certain themes and really kind of push those themes through their stories. Like Last of Us, 1 and 2, much like Walking Dead in the beginning, was more about human interaction and how you kind of humans deal with the apocalypse that they're surrounded by, not the apocalypse itself. I really kind of hope that they kind of flex their muscles a little bit, maybe do something sci-fi or, because I think it's going to be something very story based, very heavy story based. And maybe they could like touch on the themes, just like you mentioned, like with AI and stuff. We were talking about that before the podcast. Maybe they do some weird, creepy AI game that's taking over the world. And, should AI be treated as humans, kind of like iRobot? I would love to see something like that from them, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. But one thing's for sure though, PlayStation for sure, we already know they do well with their single player games.
Yeah.
So whatever they create, I'm pretty sure is gonna shake the room, whatever they create. And I think we need that balance, because considering like all the multiplayer, like I said before, all the multiplayer shooters, single story games, and I think a lot of single story games will also begin to create a lot of TV shows. I just got a feeling that like a lot of these single player games are going to start coming with movies and TV shows.
I feel like, and let me ask you this, right? I kind of talked about this, I think, with our good friend Micah, man. I feel like now we're in a point in terms of like transmedia content, so like stuff that exists outside of where it originally came from. Like video game
Hmm.
movies and TV shows are kind of at this point where they're, in my opinion, they're taking overtaking in terms of quality stuff from like superhero shows. Am I crazy? Like, because I feel like the
Nope,
last couple of
not at
animated
all.
movies we've gotten, TV shows have been really good. I'm actually really excited, and I hope. I mean, we didn't really touch on the Fallout TV show. We kind of talked about it a little bit last episode, but I feel like I'm excited for Last of Us season 2 personally. I mean, I didn't
I
really
want to
like the
see where
last
they're gonna
episode,
take
but
it.
yeah, I'm
I'm telling
curious.
you now, they're gonna detour from the video game. They're not gonna kill Joel.
No, he's gonna die. There's no story without him dying. It,
You
that
man,
that
what's
story
his
doesn't
face?
happen
What's the
without him dying.
actor's name?
Pedro
Mm,
Pascal, yeah.
man, look, the ladies love Pedro, man. Look,
It doesn't matter. I mean, honestly, how
dog,
do you
I don't
tell? You
think he's
don't tell
gonna
that
die.
story without him dying. There's no revenge
Man,
without him dying.
people said a lot of stuff about Invincible, and they detoured from the comics. Okay.
Not big moments like that though. That is literally the point of the
Oh
second
no, no,
game.
no. Let me put it like this: if they don't kill him, I don't think it's gonna be so soon.
Okay,
Can we agree with that?
maybe like the end of
Maybe.
season 2. Honestly,
Yeah, I don't
I
think
feel like the second game needs to be told in 2 parts. That's just me personally. Like I
because
don't
the
feel like
second
you
game
get
was so
that.
damn long.
Yeah, I don't feel like
You
you
remember
get
how
that.
long that game was? Bro, every time you thought it was over, it's just like the screen cut and then
Yeah.
Ellie's walking again. You're like, shit,
Yeah.
this game ain't over with yet.
I don't feel like you get those big moments in one season. There's no way they can tell that story in 8 to 10 episodes. That's just in my opinion. Yes, it's the one about the fungus. Yes, the cordyceps virus. That is correct.
Which is actually a real thing, by the way, which is kind of creepy.
It is,
But
and it's actually really
yeah.
scary. The only reason they
if you
can't
look up that virus, it's a real thing and it's scary.
fungi. It's not a virus. It's fungi.
Fungi. Yeah. Fungi.
And it's crazy because the only reason they don't survive in humans is because our body temperature is too high. By the way, that's some shit to think about. So,
So keep a fever. No, don't. Don't keep a fever. Don't do
but
that.
yeah, I don't know, man. Like I'm kind of with you there. I kind of wish we could have got this in some form of fashion. That we could have seen this come out, but it'll never see the light of day. And I honestly am curious what Sony is going to do going forward. I mean, we don't know what the hell they got coming out next year. They haven't made any sort of announcements about 2024 and beyond, if you think about it. So we'll see what happens, man. Yeah, just like bed bugs. Yeah, so we're teaching you guys something interesting. So these things won't survive on you
bed
because
bugs.
humans, your internal body temperature is too high. So, but that doesn't mean it can't change.
Good.
But anyway,
Let's just hope they don't adapt.
right? Essentially. But yeah, man, let's talk about some Twitch, man. Let's talk about Twitch.
Hey,
Been
my favorite topic. You know, I love to talk about some Twitch.
been heavy in the news with two
Yo, put
pretty,
the guns down, man.
pretty
Put the guns
significant.
down.
Yeah, I just we talked about outrage culture and reaction content. I feel like that's what we're kind of sitting in. But the first thing I wanted to talk about was Twitch talking about Korea. So South Korea in particular. So they made an announcement a couple of weeks ago that they are actually going to be shutting down operations in Korea due to the high costs of simply existing inside of the country. And this is not just a Twitch thing. I know a lot of people were upset at Twitch and stuff. This is not Twitch doing this. This is the Korean government and how they choose to charge businesses to operate in their country. So Twitch basically said that after February 27th, their business in Korea is going to be shut down. So there's like a little timeline that they released where they made the announcement. Then February, like late February, those people in the country, the streamers and stuff, you can no longer monetize. Viewers can't gift you money. They can't send you money. You can't make any sort of purchases. And then in March, you essentially you'll get your last payout. And then June of next year, they're completely shutting down operations in Korea. That shit sucks. Like I can't put it any other way. I know there are a lot of popular streamers from Asia and Korea who are basically like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because at this point you're out of a job. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh well, you could just go to Kick. Like it's not for somebody who had to move platforms against his will. It is not easy to rebuild that community.
Just think of it's just like it's like an electronic eviction.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's just like it happens so abruptly, and it's just like you hope that your audience or your followers, community, whatever you want to call them, you just hope that they follow you to Kick or wherever these people may land,
YouTube,
and
wherever you go.
But some people, for personal reasons, whatever it may be, they may not want to go over to Kick. They may not want to follow you over there. So yeah, it's a doozy, man. It's once again, life just hits you with a situation and you gotta adjust and adapt. Like hopefully a lot of these people have multi-platted it, got
Diversified
different kind of
content.
content.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully they got different types of content out on the YouTubes and the TikToks. And hopefully it'll sustain them because I'm pretty sure some of those streamers may have been full time, literally making a living off of this, and for it to be snatched up like that is rough, man. Is crazy. Like you never know. And like you said, this is Korea's government actually doing this. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we can equate this to necessarily like a layoff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's
So
once again, this is nothing that they could like. Twitch has been trying to work with the Korean government, South Korean government, to figure out some kind of way to continue to operate in the country. And from my understanding, after I think either March or June, like you won't even be able to visit the site anymore. Like it's completely kaput. Like there's no, which sucks for the people who may not be streamers, who may watch, like let's say you're a South Korean, native who likes watching US based streamers, and your favorite streamer Shroud or Lyric or whoever, you won't be able to watch your favorite stream anymore. So it's going to affect more than just those people who are staying in the country, because you have some viewers who may support outside of their countries. I know we have some international viewers here as well, and I don't know. I would actually that would kind of scare me. Like if Twitch just decided, never say never, of course, but if Twitch just decided to shut down operations in the US, they're like, hey, we can't. The government told us we had to pay more money than we're willing, so see ya.
and that's not far-fetched. People don't understand. If you don't understand the business side, which we'll get to with the artistic nudity and all that stuff, like besides selective outrage, if you really start mathing the math on the business aspect, you would understand, you will have a clearer vision of why companies, and we'll take this off Twitch, why companies do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
There's always like a reason behind it. And like our good brother Dave sent me down a rabbit hole the other day when we started talking about, how much does Twitch really make?
Not
And
much.
you would be surprised the answer. I was telling him that and he did not believe me. I was like, dog, Twitch is not a as big as a moneymaker
I
as
don't
you
even
think
remember
it
the
is.
last time they've been profitable. I mean, I always tell people like this, right? If people try to make that counterclaim, is for every prime Twitch Prime sub they give out, that's money lost for them. They're paying for that. Twitch and Amazon are paying for that money. Like that's not a free $5 that just falls off the money tree that is Amazon. Like that.
It never is. It never is. And like that's what I love about pod and about business, because once you start pulling that curtain back and you start seeing like what stuff really costs, like just to maintain, you got to think Twitch is a streaming service essentially. And those services are hard to keep up on the back end. You have to have a lot going on. You have to pay a lot of people, and then, I mean, to give it up to Twitch, you never really notice Twitch being down. Like it goes down, but there's like maintenance behind this. There's people you have to pay to keep these servers going. It's a whole bunch of stuff that they have to pay for just to maintain this site. And then you got to think about it. Who's making Twitch money? It's their top, 1%, I like to call?
Maybe 0.1%. Yeah, the top maybe 1% earners, like the top streamers, are the ones who are truly making Twitch some type of revenue. I mean, because you even look back, and this is something I actually learned when Nick Merckx moved over to Kick. When those streamers at the very top are paid a flat rate of what their contract says, right? So let's say you had 5,000 subs a month, right, on average before you signed your Twitch contract. They were giving example, they would probably give him $15,000, 15,000 subs worth of money every month, like irregardless of what your sub numbers look like, but in turn of that, all of that revenue was going to Twitch. All that sub revenue that people were subbing to you were going to Twitch, but it was paying for your contract. That's
right. So you're under a contract, but
Right.
you're basically your subs and stuff is going to Twitch.
Correct. So they were paying
So if
they were
sign
paying you a
contract,
flat
$3
rate
million.
versus, and I'm not sure if ads were added on top of that. I would hope ad money was added on top of that, right? But you never know. So they were getting a flat rate, and Twitch was taking everything else, which is apparently a fairly common thing for a lot of the top contract streamers that I didn't know. I just assumed
Hmm.
that they were making more per sub, but
So even
it's
your
a flat
boy
rate.
Kai, even you like Kai Sanat,
Yeah, he's most
like you
likely
see all
getting
those
a
subs,
flat sub rate, I'm
he
sure.
has a probably a flat rate of maybe like 4 million a year, right? I'm just throwing a number out
Right.
there. Could be more, could be less. But those subs, that's like, yeah, you're basically making Twitch money, which in turn you would think they need more big time streamers to bump up that revenue, and it is not that easy.
No.
It's not that easy at all. And that's what I was trying to explain to Dave. Like, man, they're not just rolling in money. And then you got to look at Amazon. I keep telling people this. When Amazon acquired them, when streaming was at its peak, and Amazon hurry up and jumped in there and copped them for a quick investment. They really didn't know what was going on. They didn't know
Right.
game streaming, nothing like that. They just saw an opportunity and they took it. Man, we could literally wake up tomorrow, Amazon and them could be like, yo, this is not really profiting us like we thought it was. It's
Mm-hmm.
not really making us money. We're going to go ahead and do away with Twitch. I'm pretty sure they probably under a contract or something. But once that contract is up, they might be like, hey, we're looking at these numbers and it's what you say, the juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Yeah, they could eject Twitch out of their portfolio. I mean, it's not unheard of. I mean,
Right.
for all the good that Dan has come, Dan Clancy, the new CEO of Twitch, he came from Amazon. For people who don't know, I've listened to quite a few interviews that he's been in over the last year, and he constantly always talks about how he wants to do right by the community, but they also have a business to run. Essentially, they have
Exactly.
decisions
Listen
to
to the
make.
last part.
You look at what did they announce the other day, that squad streaming was going away in January. Some people were upset about that. It's like, when have you ever used
And
that
y'all
feature?
didn't read. And y'all didn't read.
Like that stuff. But my point
Y'all
is,
didn't
like,
read.
those types of things cost money. Those development of features on the platform costs money. So you have these moments where, this is why I get frustrated with our community as a whole, because I touched on this when we had Terrible Gaming on. Content creators do not want to understand the business of content creation, and that is to our detriment, because that's how industries are people will take advantage of your lack of knowledge. You look at branded sponsor deals and things like that. They will take advantage of your lack of knowledge. So it's best to inform yourself of these things. And, my heart goes out to all those people in Korea, because I would not imagine, I couldn't imagine, once again, not having a comfortable platform to stream to. Like I said, I was on Mixer. I was on my way up. I was in there. Then they cut out the lights. They just, the next day, hey, we can't run this anymore. Microsoft was like, sorry, we're going to shut down Mixer.
No warning, no nothing. They just show up like, hey, business is shrewd. Like, business is business at the end of the day. And, I talked to my brother, and I really want to get my brother back on here, because my brother,
Yes.
he's up there with the people who have to make those type of decisions. And he's like, dude, it's not easy. He was like, people, he was like, you have people who care, and then you have people who don't care. And when you care, it's just hard. Like, you have to make a business decision that essentially is going to affect 2,000 people's lives. We got to do this before Christmas. I got to tell this person, hey, man, we're closing this division.
Yeah.
He was like, how hard it is to sleep at night knowing that before Christmas, you just laid 2,000 people off. Now, everybody don't give a damn.
Yeah.
So most CEOs been built for this. They, for whatever reason, it's just like, yo, if it's not profiting, we got to do what we got to do.
And that's why a lot of people think like CEOs are heartless or cold. I kind of understand why they are the way they are, because if you allow yourself to get to know the people that you have to let go, it's tough. Like, that takes it. You're losing a piece of your humanity, in my opinion, anyway. If I was that person,
right,
I would hate, just like you said, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night knowing I had to tell someone that they're getting let go, that it's not your performance, it's just business. Like, that doesn't make somebody feel good.
Yeah, and as much as we say that, like, I've been on the ass end of that. I'm like, yo, I ain't trying to hear nothing you talking about, dog.
Just a little insight. Really, yeah, man. Like, for me.
Yeah, but when you really look at it, right? It's just like when you look at it from a business perspective, there's an understanding there, but it doesn't make it easier. You know what I'm saying? It
No,
still doesn't make it easier when it happens to you.
no,
So
it
I
doesn't,
don't like.
man. Just a little bit about myself. I was let go from a company. I was working in the IT department for a very large insurance agency. I'm not going to name on stream. Just they lost a lot of money last year. I'll leave it at that. And they decided that they were going to basically send all their IT work overseas. I was on the outside looking in. I was the first guy in the door and first guy out. Unfortunately, wasn't a performance thing. Literally let go of my entire department, and it just sucks, man. That's why once again, as a content creator, man, diversify your content because you never know. A policy change could affect how much money you're paid on a monthly basis. The people who are holding the keys could just decide that we don't want to continue to operate at a loss anymore. Hey, we're going to move on from something else. We're going to move on to something else. We're going to get rid of this and it's over with. And, like I said, my heart goes out to those people in Korea, man. I don't know what they're going to do. A lot of them probably aren't going to be able to survive the change. I know a lot of people who came over from Mixer who didn't survive. A lot of great streamers who are doing good over there. A lot of talented people who just faded to black because they couldn't survive. They had to go get a job. You had to go back in the real world.
And as like once you get that, oh man, it's hard. It's hard, content creating and having a 9 to 5 job. Then on top of that, people have families and stuff, and some people they just get to the point where they're like, "Hey, man, forget it. It's not worth it, man. I'm going to keep saying it because it's the title of the episode. Juice ain't worth the squeeze." So you know what I'm saying? So hopefully they land. Hopefully they land well. Hopefully they land on their feet, complete the flip. You know what I'm saying? But with Twitch, my thing is this. Hey, man, I just want y'all to start reading. Oh my God, read.
And don't just read the tweet. Click on the blog post.
Click on the damn link and read it all before
read the whole thing.
Because a lot of y'all, when they dubbed that the team streaming thing, y'all didn't read for shit.
Oh, here's another feature that Twitch is just giving.
Y'all didn't read.
Blah, blah,
if y'all
blah.
would have gave it to small streamers, blah blah blah. Oh, so you didn't read?
My experience with Twitch, twit longer. That's all I hate. Don't get me started, but
read, because then a lot of y'all didn't even some of y'all doubled down. On it, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna log off Twitter now because apparently you're in the wrong and you just don't want to admit it. Okay,
gosh, man, people on Twitter with the hot takes, man. But let's move on to the next subject, which is kind of rolling into that what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
So, Twitch decided on the 13th of December to update their approach to sexual content and content classification labels, or CCLs, for those of you who aren't sure what they are. So essentially what a CCL is, if you are playing a mature game, or it's a way for Twitch to kind of filter your content to its intended audience. That's essentially what a CCL is, a content classification label. And so Twitch wanted to try to be a little bit less ambiguous with their TOS in regards to sexual content within the community guidelines. And so they basically were like, we're no longer going to essentially punish people who are making adult themed art, whether that's body painting, you're drawing, big booby anime girls, whatever you're into. I don't know what you weirdos are into, but they were basically trying to clear up the muddy waters that have been a problem ever since Twitch's inception, in my opinion. And man, did people go nuts. I feel like this is my opinion on it, right? Because I know the biggest thing that people were talking about were, what about the kids? You're putting this stuff in front of children, our kids.
So only time y'all care about y'all kids is when Twitch do something.
My thing is, right, we live in this world where it is essentially impossible to keep things like that away from kids, unless you're a attentive parent, which is what it always comes back to. Are you being attentive to your kids and what they're watching, what they're consuming on the internet, right? And I feel like we're at this point in the world where people have these moral opinions, these stances that they want to take without once again reading fully what they were trying to say. So before we get too deep into the content or the topic, I want to hear what your thoughts on this, because I know you had some very strong opinions as well on Twitter.
Oh man, I was about to paint it up.
Our DC was once again he was once again in these streamer streets on Twitter, man. I commend you for fighting in these trenches, man. But what are your thoughts on all this,
in the trenches? Well, here we go, man. So first of all, I would like to say this. There's bigger fights out there, y'all. There's other fights out there. There's other fights you can fight, man. But first of all, I want to harken back on this article I was telling you about. So apparently, Twitch reversed the policy because it was citing AI as creating
two days later
two realistic images.
Yes.
So I was trying to do the research on that right before the pod, because I was talking to Darius about it off the pod. For the reason why they pulled back on it, and that was one of the reasons.
That was one of the big ones, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the big reasons, and you guys can look this up. Read. I just want, man, you know what I want people to do? Honestly, man, I just really want people to read and really start comprehending things. But yeah, you can't have that if we're AI is spouting out realistic images, because guess what? Now it's going against TOS, right? So essentially they're shooting themselves in the foot. I don't think they thought about AI. AI is affecting everything in the world. So I think it's going to come back. So there's still hope for me. It's going to come back because I got art, damn it. But anyway, I think it's going to come back, and it's going to be refined even more. You know what I'm saying? Because once again, all jokes aside, once again, it comes down to making Twitch profitable, right? You don't want to alienate people, you know, because I've been on gym streams on Twitch. I've been like, if you dig deep, there's genres for a lot of stuff. So I just kind of don't get the big hoopla over like artistic nudity, someone body painting. It's not taking your views. Shut up. It's not.
Oh, because people are going to watch. I play COD on when she's painting her belly button, man? How am I going to get my viewers back? I can't
focus on shooting if I keep looking at her belly. Like, maybe you're the problem, but I don't care. Like I was telling people on Twitter, does that stop your motion? And I was like, no, then get back to work. Like, it's not going to affect your motion. It's just something I feel like they're doing now. Is it a little risque? Yeah. And the reason why they're doing it, because let's be honest, man. Hey, sex sells. Let's just be real. In whatever form, artistic nudity, whatever they want to call it, is going to draw more people to Twitch, right? That means Twitch is more profitable. Hopefully it produces.
I think they have to walk a fine line with that. And
of course, with everything they do. But they...
Because a lot of Twitch's like money nowadays comes from ad sponsorships and deals, right? Brand deals. And you look at a site like you look at a site like Kick, where and this was a conversation a few weeks ago that people were having. There are almost no sponsors willing to touch that platform. Period.
And that's what I was going to get at too.
Due to oh man, you really want to see some Wild West type stuff? Just spend an afternoon browsing through Kick. Like people are insanely loose with what they interpret the TOS to be over there. And I think the problem is, Twitch is trying to fight a unwinnable war, essentially. They're trying to get that part of their community under control. There are people who like to draw those things, or hell, I went to art school, man. I sat in a life drawing class for 3 hours with a naked human standing in front of me, charcoal drawing. But does that mean that, inherently it just depends on your intentions with the content you want to make?
And they're going to regulate that. Like if you don't I think one of the things with this overhaul is, and they said it, if people read, that, they're going to, now saying it and doing it is a different thing.
Correct.
I get that. but they say that they're going to like tighten up with their TOS when they roll this out. This is not over. They're going to roll it out again.
Yeah.
But like you said, and I was getting to that, like you're making a play for the money, but you got to be careful not to scare the money. Like you want something that kind of, I feel like they are. I'm just going to say it, man. I feel like they're teetering the line because you can scare off sponsors, right?
Yeah.
But you also want that content because that content, it brings people. Let's just be honest.
People and they spend money on your platform.
Yes, exactly. So we're playing a balancing act here, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because if they start losing sponsors, Twitch is going to get that shit out of here ASAP. It's done. It's gone. So this is a beta. This is what this is. This is a beta. They're testing this out, right? Or who's to say the AI thing, the AI excuse, I'll call it an excuse for right now. Maybe some sponsors reached out to them, was like, hey, what are y'all doing? So Twitch was like, whoa,
I
okay.
can almost guarantee you there was a conversation that somebody had with someone. I can almost guarantee you that.
And Twitch was like, hey, yo, we got to roll this back. Hold up.
And I mean, once again, going back to those content labels, they even explicitly said in the blog, the original blog that they dropped, that none of that content would have ever made it to the front page. For those of you who don't know, Twitch's front page is a walking billboard. If you ever look at that carousel at the top that you can kind of scroll through, a lot of those are usually like sponsored posts or, they usually have some sort of brand deals or something. Like they're usually doing something that was worked for through Twitch. And, shout out to Darkstar in the chat. I respectfully disagree with you. I don't think Twitch is turning into OnlyFans. I think that's one of those knee-jerk reactions that people have that they have had over the last couple of days, where Twitch, they never said that you could make any sort of sexually, they specifically said in the blog, anything that's sexually explicit sexual acts, you're automatically banned. Same thing that they've been doing. But if you read TOS, people can read TOS and find little loopholes in it, just like you can find loopholes in anything else. But
and that's what they were doing.
And that's what people were doing. And that was part of the problem with animated adult theme. I'm going to say adult theme content once again. And people, they realized that people were just taking things too far, and it was causing all sort of conversations. Now, I will say this. I think Twitch needs to do a better job of age verifications and putting that content behind mature content behind some sort of barrier that people who are not of age should not be able to view that content. I 100% agree with that. I don't care who you are. It's, once again, that's like a moral, you can say morally, I don't want my kid watching scary movies, mature films, blah, blah, blah. But if I see a young lady doing yoga poses and writing names on her chest or something for subs, like, I don't think kids need to watch that, man. I think we can agree with that, right? Like, that's a little, that's pushing it a little far.
Man, most kids, let's be real, most young kids in the Fortnite damn category, bruh.
Nah, you can't say that though. You really can't say that. Because if it was that
you
simple,
you have to dig for that, unless it's on the front page.
Not on social media anymore. You don't have to dig for it. Look at what Instagram does. You say it all the time about how you get these weird bots that follow you on Instagram. Imagine a kid,
that's true.
Imagine a teenager who has an Instagram who may not even look at that stuff. It probably gets pushed to their feed some kind of way, right? It's too easy. It's too easy it's too easily accessible.
And I mean, even like, and another thing, man. Hey, well, I'll talk about that later. That's kind of off topic, but yeah, there's a lot of agrees to disagree in here, and I like this. I like.
We love the conversation in here, man.
Yeah, I like the conversation, man.
This is what I think is important, and a lot of people where all the sky is falling for Twitch and blah. Twitch isn't going anywhere. They're gonna be fine. Will they figure this out? I'm not too confident in that. I mean, we've seen them kind of roll back policies before. I mean, look at what happened with the whole. Look at what happened with the whole hot tub thing a couple of years ago.
Oh
they
God!
Had no, they had no idea. Yeah, they had no idea how to police that directory until they spun. Just chatting until they spun it off into its own directory. Maybe that's something they need to do, right? Like if you want to make mature art or something, spin it off into its own directory, age gate it for kids so they can't view the shit. I don't pretend
Even
like
if
I mean
age gated. At the end of the day, it's going to be a combination between them and the parents. You just
Exactly.
got to be mindful. I understand, I don't take it lightly. I know y'all parents have to work and do so much stuff and take care of your kids, but at the end of the day, is just pick up the phone, check the history, and,
Talk to your kids,
most,
man. Yeah.
yeah, have that talk with them. But like, hey, this is what's online. I don't want you on this because this can happen. Like, there's a lot of predatorial behavior that happens online. Like, people trying to get money out of your kids and stuff. I had it happen to my nephew, but thank God, my nephew was smart enough to talk to me and his mom, like, hey, this person's doing this, that, asking
Hmm.
me for this. And, we was like, yo, we told him straight up, like, yo, they're running scams and stuff. And he was smart enough not to let it happen. But
Hmm.
you got to have these open end conversations with your kids, because as tech grow, people get weirder. Shit's weird.
I
Like,
mean,
people get
there's
in
child predators who play Roblox.
Roblox. Yeah.
You know, that
All
I
that.
remember like a couple years ago, I sent my sister-in-law something because my nephew, he was real heavy into Roblox and how they were essentially extorting kids or getting them to send them videos or photos, just weird stuff, man. Like
Yeah, like, can I get a picture of you? Like, I've seen this shit. I've seen it.
yeah,
Like I said, my nephews, they'll come tell me. They be like, hey, I'm like, don't send any of your information. Don't be
don't.
taking pictures. Like, we tell them, him, I mean, me, his mom, like, everybody was like, yo, like, if we let you play online, matter of fact, we don't even want you talking. You don't even need to be on the mic.
No,
Mute
no
up.
voice chat. Yeah, nothing. And then we're
Make
not
your
saying as
little
parents, man, you
Robloxies.
you don't have to play the games with them, but just be informed at what your kids are doing or looking at online. There's child locks or parental controls on most like tech sites, games and stuff. I mean, you can do it on PlayStation and Xbox. You can turn on parental controls. So there's ways to, I don't want to say
Be
police, but monitor, yeah,
involved.
be involved and monitor the things that your children are doing online.
Hey, let me tell you what I'm gonna do as a parent. I'm gonna go create a whole profile, and I'm just gonna sit in Roblox and watch my child.
You're just gonna be their
Who are
friend.
you talking
Yeah.
to? Yeah, I'm just gonna be their best friend and walk around with them, and they're gonna be
Get a
like,
voice changer or something.
"Dad, is that you?" No.
Nah,
And
of
then you
course
hear me
not.
in other room. No, it's not me. What are you talking about? No, it's not me. But let me ask you this real quick, because I know
Yeah.
we're running short on time.
Yeah, yeah.
What would you like to see from Twitch moving forward in the future? Whether it be new category, new interface, whatever. What do you think
Just like as
will
far as
help Twitch?
features or yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Anything.
I mean honestly, man, I think they're doing something right with trying to do the content labels and stuff. I mean, we use a couple here for the podcast and stuff when we're live, just being in the directory and whatnot. I wish there was an easier way to search through those filters. Like maybe you want to, like, you could pull up a filter, be like, I want to see, black guy playing FPS or horror game or something like that to where you can. Discoverability is always going to be the number one thing for me, honestly. And I know that's
Hmm.
something that's a hard thing to figure out. People much smarter than myself have been working on. I'm sure they've been working on ways to kind of to fix that. But I feel like Twitch is at this really interesting point because they're trying to experiment a little bit with the whole. You can add like the little stories and stuff, kind of like Instagram and whatnot. I would maybe like
Hmm.
expansion and like ways to interact with your community more on the platform when you're not live. Maybe turn your clips like I've been saying this, like Twitch needs to, maybe their mobile app could turn into like a semi version of TikTok where let's say someone clips your stream, you have a funny moment, cool moment, they clip it for like 60 seconds, a minute, whatever, and it goes into a feed like a For You page, on Twitch. That way you have
Twitch,
ways
you
to
listening?
discover. Because I'm gonna be honest, man,
I think
like
that's kind of fire.
I don't really search for new people to watch anymore at this point. Like I have the people that I watch when I do watch Twitch, and I
Hmm.
don't go outside of that bubble. And I feel like there's quite a few people like that on the platform. And for as big as Twitch is, people got to realize Twitch is such a small part of the industry. It's not comparable to something like YouTube or even TikTok at this point. So
Yeah,
they need to
because
find ways to engage with where the consumer is for content. Like people have that, people call it TikTok brain. I kind of have the shit too, where I'm just scrolling through TikTok, and I don't remember the two scrolls ago what I watched.
oh yeah, yeah, we're definitely living in a time of of I can't even think of the word of it right now, but like we process so much so fast now.
Right.
Like it's just in and out, literally. Like you'll see it, laugh at it, and then you're on to the next laugh. It's
Yeah.
almost like
And
cocaine.
then you could even do something, you could take it even farther where you have a feed of people who are live of submitted, just like Wendy said, of submitted clips. Like this guy just did something crazy in this Warzone tournament, you know, and you get it right back. You see that person, hey, I want to click on it just has like live now. You click on that person's stream and you find their community.
Or maybe they could have like a feature where since like you know when games like Call of Duty come out,
Right.
maybe they could have like a squad up feature or something like, hey, you
Something.
know, yeah, like hey, you want to play with me? Like the person could just kind of put out, or like games where it's just hard to find people to play with,
Hmm.
like Destiny or something. Like maybe they could have like a squad up feature or something where
And
it'd give
you can
your
even
community.
incentivize the viewer some way because I know that or they will, I don't know if they still are doing this, but at one point if you watched a certain amount of ads, you got bits to use in people's chat. You could turn that shit. Like if you watch X amount of shorts, you know, we'll give you 10 bits. We'll give you 20 bits. You know, something that will incentivize the user to want to continue to use said feature. And I think that's a lot of things that Twitch does. They'll introduce stuff, but there's really no incentivization or people don't know how to integrate it into their content, which can be tough. Like
But
I,
I
you know,
think
I've been
the
trying to think of that myself with the whole, like I said, with the whole Instagram story thing. Like it's tough because
yeah,
if you put
hmm
something up, and so let's say, oh, I'm live now. I think they exist for like up to 3 days or something. Like, and let's say somebody finds that 2 days later you're not live. I mean, yeah, it brings you to their channel, but you're gonna be like, oh shit, well he's not live. I'm not gonna watch. That's a potential
yeah.
follower that you lose.
I think one of the main focuses, like you said, would be I'll add to that on the side of discoverability. Um, to me, it's like welcoming. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? To newer people who are using the platform, whether no matter what their ambitions are, whether it's just a hobby,
Mm-hmm.
they want to go full time. This is what they want to do. I think creating features to be more welcoming, and this is coming from like my RP brain. Like I think about like when I'm role playing like on GTA and like how new people will come to the city and they don't have a clue like even where to start.
Right.
So I think about that when I'm thinking about Twitch. Like, you know, you might get some of the equipment or you might be streaming from your console and you kind of just like going with the flow. Like I think like if they just had more welcoming features, maybe it'll help with them and retention at the end of the day because more people that's using the platform is better for Twitch.
Agreed.
And you know, for up and coming streamers to create tools that will help them with their discoverability, everybody freaking wins. So there's just some things that I think they need to think about. And I think Dan is not an idiot.
Dan the
I'm pretty
man.
sure Dan is probably thinking. I'm not gonna lie. I've been very apprehensive of Dan just because like Twitch has been like crazy before he stepped in. So I'm kind of giving him a shot. He hasn't done anything crazy. We haven't had any scandals. This is
Nah,
not a
not yet, not
scandal.
yet.
I don't care what nobody says. This is just people not reading. But yeah. So I'm kind of watching. Dan, I'm still watching you.
Keep
Watching you,
doing good,
buddy.
man. Please. And you know, just yeah, even Winnie has some more good ideas. I think there's a plethora of things that they could look to do. And now that they're being a little bit more open about you live streaming on multi platforms, you know, maybe make it easy for people to upload their clips to Shorts, to TikTok and YouTube right from the site. You know, you can do that for certain other platforms. I don't see why Twitch wouldn't integrate that something in the future, but I don't know. That was a great one, man. I think that's a good place to wrap her up. Thank y'all for
Mm-hmm.
hanging out for episode 172 of the podcast, man. This is it's always great to have people in chat, man. Shout out to all the people, all the viewers and stuff we have today. Once again, if you
And I
want
just
to
want
watch this or you know want to participate, show up live, man. We are live every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern.
y'all like
Um,
our audience or
yes.
our crowd. It's like let's go.
Yeah, we hear hand claps in the back right now. All right, we appreciate you guys, man. That's gonna be the end of the episode, man. Thank you guys for hanging out, man. You can find me everywhere. Darius the Artist, Twitter, Darius the Artist, where E is a 3. I'm never calling it X, so don't ask me to. And I'm gonna give DC the
Mm,
floor to close us out, baby.
Mm. Oh, it's on me.
It's
Oh,
on you,
I'm up here
baby.
dancing. I'm up here dancing and doing dumb shit. Guys, I don't have too much to say. My main thing is this. Before you go jumping off the ledge, make sure you read the instructions. There might not be a mattress at the bottom of that ledge or cliff you jump off of. A lot of people just see Twitch, they get upset, they want to just fly off the deep end. Avi, I want you to put the paintbrush down. Whatever you ordered off Amazon, please return it.
Hey, just read 2OS, man. Whatever you do with your content.
No, Avi's a wild card. I just don't know about her sometimes. But yeah, I just really want people to start just dig into your business brain a little bit more. And if not, you guys can come to us. We love that stuff. We love talking about the back end stuff. And I want to give a shout out to my sister-in-law. Yeah, just sending prayers her way. Her mother is not in the greatest of health. It's the holidays. It's always tough to kind of deal with that situation
Yes,
during the
sir.
holidays. So I just want to send prayers out to her. Want to send it out prayers to our guy Dark Star in the chat. Sending prayers out to him. Sending prayers out to Built. Our guy built up real nice. It's been a rough year. Sending prayers out to you too, my brother. I know you dealt with some loss recently, so I
Yes,
want to
sir.
just send
Thank you,
prayers out
man.
to everybody before we be up out this thing. Just stay safe out here, y'all.
Love
Love
each
y'all.
other, man. We're here for you guys. We appreciate all of y'all, man, taking the time, even if it's a minute out of your day, man. And if you got anything out of this podcast, man, share it with somebody. Share it with somebody that you think might enjoy it. We appreciate that. But thank you guys. That's going to be into the audio version. If you guys are in chat, hang around. We're going to play some video games. See you later. Peace.
Always fun, guys. Peace.